Hi guys, it's Miss Wundram and we are reading There's a Boy in the Girls' Bathroom by Louis Soccer. I got this really nice light streaming through the window. Hope you guys are having a good night. Tonight we are on chapter 33. Bradley was terrible. He dribbled with two hands. He passed the ball to people who weren't on his team. But worst of all, whenever anyone passed the ball to him, he said, "Thank you." He never shot at the basket. He didn't dare. Finally, after his team was losing 28-6 anyway, everyone told him to try a shot. He looked around for someone to pass to. Jeff sat down so Bradley wouldn't pass it to him. "Just shoot," he said. The rest of his team sat down too. "Shoot it," they said. Everybody on the other team sat down too. "Shoot the ball." Bradley faced the basket. His tongue slipped out the corner of his mouth as he carefully aimed and then threw the ball high into the air. It hit the back of the rim, bounced against the backboard, and then dropped through the net. "Great shot," said Jeff. "Way to go," said Andy, patting him on the back. At first, he couldn't believe it. But then he saw Carla's book lying on the ground at the base of the basket. No wonder, he realized. Everyone headed for the water fountain. Bradley went along too, even though he wasn't thirsty. But then, once he got there, he realized he was thirsty. He just hadn't noticed. "Good game, Bradley," said Brian. You just have to stop passing to people who aren't on your team," said Dan. Maybe you should give the rest of us your team black eyes too," said Robbie, "and then you'll know who to pass to." Everyone laughed, even Bradley. He and Jeff were the last two left at the water fountain. Everyone else had already started back to class. As they drank, their eyes met, and they broke up laughing. "How did you get the black eye?" Bradley asked after he stopped laughing. "Melinda," said Jeff. Bradley nodded. "She's strong," he said. "Oh boy, you could say that again," said Jeff. They laughed again. "My book!" Bradley suddenly exclaimed. He ran back to the basketball court where he'd left it. Jeff shook his head as he watched Bradley run away. Life's weird, he thought. He walked into the boys' bathroom and splashed his sweaty face with cold water. He had to hold the faucet down with one hand and splash his face with the other. Colleen Verigold walked in. He stared at her. She looked around and then screamed and ran outside. Jeff watched the door swing shut behind her. Chapter 34. Life was too weird for Jeff to return to class. "Anytime you want to talk again," Carla had said, "please feel free to come and see me, even if you just feel like getting out of class for a while." He hoped she had really meant it. He had a lot he wanted to say to her, beginning with, "I'm sorry." He slowly walked into her office. He hoped she wasn't with somebody else. He knocked. Carla opened the door and smiled when she saw him. "Hello, Jeff." He smiled. "Hi, Carla, He stopped because he saw somebody else sitting at the round table. "I believe you two know each other," said Carla. Jeff lowered his eyes. "Hello, Colleen," he muttered. Colleen Verigold covered her face with her hands. "You don't mind if Jeff joins us, do you, Colleen?" Carla asked. Colleen shook her head with her hands still over her face. Jeff awkwardly sat down. "Mrs. Ebel doesn't know I'm here," he said. "I'll write you a note," said Carla. Colleen peeked out from between her fingers. "I'm not supposed to be here either," she said. Carla turned to Colleen. "So, what's the big emergency? Can you say it in front of Jeff?" "He already knows," said Colleen. She looked at Jeff. "You better not tell anybody." "I won't," Jeff promised. "Tell anybody what?" asked Carla. Colleen walked into the boys' bathroom, said Jeff. I was there, washing my face. Jeff, Colleen exploded. You just promised you wouldn't tell. Oops, said Jeff. He blushed. It was only Carla. You were going to tell her anyway, weren't you? Colleen smiled at him. I didn't go there on purpose, she explained to Carla. It was an accident. I don't believe in accidents, said Carla. Colleen stared at her in amazement. She wondered how Carla knew she'd gone in after Jeff on purpose. She turned to Jeff. I'm sorry for saying hello to you when you didn't like it. That's okay. Anyway, how was I supposed to know you didn't like it? You always say hello back. I know, I can't help it. Whenever anybody says hello to me, I always have to say hello back. He looked at the picture of the green monster with 6 hands hanging on the wall. If a big scary monster said, hello, Jeff, I'd probably say hello back to it, too. Colleen laughed. Well, what's wrong with that? Demanded Carla. If a monster says hello to you, you should say hello to it. If you don't, then I have to wonder which one of you is really the monster. Colleen frowned. She suddenly remembered that Bradley Chalkers had said hello to her at the beginning of her lunch period, and she had walked away without saying hello back. It made her feel terrible. You can say hello to me whenever you want, said Jeff. She smiled again. Hello, Jeff, she said. Hello, Colleen, said Jeff. I read somewhere, said Carla, that in Zen, the most important rule is that when one person says hello to you, you have to say hello back. What's Zen? Asked Colleen. A religion, answered Carla. She got a book from her bookcase. Here it is. She read aloud from Raise High the Roof Beam Carpenters by J.D. Salinger. In certain Zen monasteries, it's a cardinal rule that when one monk calls out hi to another monk, the latter must call back hi without thinking. Jeff should be a Zen monk, Colleen exclaimed with delight. Jeff laughed. I already say hello to anybody who says hello to me, he said proudly. Oh, can girls be Zen monks too? Colleen asked. Why not? Asked Carla. Colleen laughed with delight, and then she said, Jeff, do you want to come to my birthday party next Sunday? Yes, said Jeff. That's the second and most important thing about being a Zen monk. Whenever another Zen monk invites you to a birthday party, you have to say yes. Colleen laughed again. You're the only boy so far, she said. I'll invite one more, but only one. I can't invite too many boys. Suddenly, she looked very serious. She knew what she had to do. Okay. Hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July. And I will read chapter 34 very, very soon. I say tomorrow, which means like 2 days, but maybe tomorrow. All right, bye. Mwah.